Welcome to Revolution Televised. It's Sunday, March 4th. It's been 2 weeks since we did one, but we've got a lot of updates this Sunday for you. Karsh is back with us. Welcome back.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And he's going to be giving you the upcoming AMAs and elections here in just a second. Today we're going to be talking about the Texas primaries and how you can help get out the vote for those, as well as talk about current events. There's been a lot going on in the media. It's been almost overwhelming with the West Virginia's teacher strike and people coming out very strongly against gun violence, which has been really great to see, as well as some interesting inner left-wing kind of politics coming out with the DNC and the DCCC. Making some moves there on their end. Anyways, go ahead, Karsh, take it over and give us those upcoming events there.
Yeah, so we just had, one AMA so far this month with the Wendy May, which went pretty great. We were able to find, a community interest in this candidate, and they were able to bring them on, and actually it was so cool to see that process kind of unfold. Meanwhile, we have Dion Douglas, who's coming back. He was just here last month, but he's had some, several campaign developments. He says some big news coming up, so he wanted to come on again. He is one of the other 2 AMAs this month that we're thinking of scoping out for March. Ryan Kojaste is also going to be here this month. I also wanted to kind of really jump into the, the meat of our events this month, which is really going to be focused on the primaries, the Texas primaries coming up. And there are other elections kind of in March that we're keeping our eye on. But for, this Tuesday, especially, some of the major campaigns are going to be, Beto O'Rourke against, he's running for Senate for the Democratic primary right now, but that's going to be the race against Ted Cruz. So we'll see how, his progressive, campaign takes place this Tuesday. There's also Laura Moser, some of the bigger names like, Derek Crow, Rick Trevino, endorsed by BNCJD. And then moving forward, we also have the Illinois primaries coming up on March 20th. And a lot of other, smaller elections around states like Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama, kind of scoping around March. But if you want to check out more about all of these elections, definitely go to our election calendar wiki. That's in the YouTube description, so you can check it out there. I'm going to throw it back to you, Glo.
Thanks, Karsh. So yeah, like Karsh was saying, the Texas primaries are this coming Tuesday, March 6th. We will be doing some election coverage that night, so definitely tune in then. Basically, we need people phone banking right now. Just go to grassrootspb.com, or you can go to the Justice Dialer website, but the Grassroots website will actually, when you install the browser extension, it'll track your calls for you, and then that'll make you eligible to receive rewards from us. We actually have a rewards program now that you can view at politicalrevolution.com /phone banking. So that's something new that we've been doing, where you can turn in your calls for rewards. So definitely check that out. You can phone bank right now for Derek Crow, who's running as a Democrat in Texas 23, and Rick Trevino, who's running also as a Democrat in Texas District 21. Some other candidates that we wanted to highlight were Laura Moser. Of course, she's been getting a lot of exposure because the DCCC actually came out against her. They wrote an opposition memo against someone in their own party. So that's been making waves recently in the progressive news. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we had actually previously endorsed her, and then Our Revolution came out and endorsed her as well. So she's definitely getting the attention she deserves for running a very progressive campaign. But even before the DCCC came out against her, she was raising like 6 times as much as any other candidate in that race. She's running in Texas District 7, also as a Democrat. But that is a very full race right now. I think there's 6 or 7 other candidates. So definitely, if you are in that district, you definitely go out to vote for Laura Mosher and go to her campaign website to see what else you can do for her. She's not on the phone banking website, unfortunately. We've been trying to get in contact with her campaign, but so if anyone has any tips for that, definitely reach out to us there. But other than that, Karsh also mentioned Beto O'Rourke. He is a senatorial candidate. We definitely, I think all of these candidates, you can go to their website and like canvass if you're in their district. Phone banking right now is just for Derek and Rick. But Beto, he, you know, I think he's gotten a lot of attention. He's kind of I would say like if there is such a thing, a moderate progressive. He's kind of withheld some stances on Medicare for All and Citizens United, but overall, much better than Ted Cruz. So definitely get out the vote for him as well. So with that, we're going to go on a quick break, and then we'll talk about some current events. So yeah, see you in a few minutes. Centering and okay, welcome back. So we've got a few things to talk about. First of all, definitely wanted to highlight the West Virginia teacher strike. I'm sure everybody's been following that very closely from wherever you are in the country. It's affecting. It is a national crisis right now. I think other states are debating whether to join in this show of solidarity here. We just wanted to, I don't think that we're gonna go into the news of it all. I'm sure everyone's following that. Right now, I think they're still on strike because the initial offer was reneged, essentially, or not all lawmakers agreed with it. Yeah, the West Virginia Senate on Saturday, so yesterday, tried to vote to give teachers a smaller raise hike than negotiated, but accidentally voted on a bill giving teachers the requested raise. So I guess that's a positive, but yeah, the chaos in the state legislature is just ridiculous right now. So, we wanted to highlight how you can actually help the teacher strike right now. So there's a website, it's goingdown.org, that has compiled, it's actually, I think, yeah, it was made by the IWWW, yeah, the industrial workers of the world. So I think that's a union, but there's resources on on that website how to spread and build the West Virginia teacher strike. So if you can go out there, definitely go out there and bring materials to help the teachers, help the students, as well as like cardboard signs and stuff like that. And there's also a donation fund there.
Yeah, it really speaks to the inability of the government at that ground level to actually implement systems that pay their teachers fairly, right? I mean, it's another example with just Trump dealing with children in this gun control debate. Our schools are like suffering so harshly, and these teachers are obviously not getting paid for essentially having to not only protect their kids, but just be their caretakers, but also teach them. And like it's getting in the way of actually teaching our public, right? And that's part of the agenda that works for them. So people have to see that for what it really is, and get these teachers fairly paid.
Yeah, absolutely. They're making, I think I saw on average $45,000 a year. I mean, I make more than that as working as an IT professional. That's my day job. So it's just really sad. I mean, teachers have one of the most important jobs, I think, in this country. They bring in the new generation, and in order to be able to do that healthily, I mean, there has to be healthy boundaries for them to be able to do that, and that includes financial compensation to have a cost of living that they can actually have a comfortable life with, and that gives them, the empowerment to actually be able to give kids a better education. So that's something that's very personal to me as well. I have two younger brothers that kind of fell through the education system, and I have as well. And I think that if our teachers were paid better, and I think if more money was spent on education, I don't think those things would be happening. And we're a common story, honestly. That's the point to all this. And then some kids, are extraordinarily sensitive to that desperation, and they, engage in violence. And that's why these cycles keep perpetuating themselves, I think. I think everyone is feeling that across the country. And for Trump to not be involved in that is just a disgrace, I think. Whatever you feel about gun ownership in itself, I think that at this point, everyone needs to look at it objectively and ask ourselves why we have the most gun violence over like any other major country. So what do we do?
Well, we don't do what the DCCC said for their candidates on the Las Vegas shooting and their response to what gun control policy should look like, right? Like you say, I mean, Trump's not only Trump, I always say Trump, but this Republican conservative agenda that is being spread is right now in power. It's given them the ability to diminish the ability of government to even fairly pay these teachers, right? So that ineffectivity, like how do we see that become an effective message for our side, right? We have the Democrats, the DCCC, right, 3 C's, saying that we shouldn't bring up these policies that we really just hurt our message with, right? It doesn't make sense for us to not make a point. And that's what Laura Moser did. And, that was, I think, a great point in this now firing up election cycle. Like you're seeing the DNC really settling in now. They're starting to publish these things against our own. So how are we going to perpetuate that message, change that message against what the Republican agenda is?
Yeah, it's a really good segue there. So as you said, the DCC, DCCC, however many C's it has, Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. Is that what it is? Anyways,
Congressional campaign, yeah, only for House of Rep, but technically like the financial arm of the DNC, sure.
Okay. Both of these things that you mentioned, they not only came out against Laura, but they also advised their own members to not speak out against gun violence and saying that it's too sensitive of an issue and just to offer thoughts and prayers. And I just really, objectively, I don't think, first of all, I don't think the DNC is inherently progressive. I think progressives will, change the party, and I don't think the DCCC is progressive at all. But I mean, just logically, if you have a message base where you're claiming to, be in bipartisanship right to this opposite entity, which is the Republican Party, and they are saying the same thing essentially. They don't attack or address the policy of gun control. They don't talk about what we can do specifically, and not even look at it objectively. It's very black and white. It's either gun ownership or extreme gun control. And that's not. In the DCCC and the DNC are perpetuating that, and they're just honestly, it's not even. I want to say it's like an offense to the families and the victims, but if you claim to be something that's progressive, that's something that's democratic, socialist, and I don't mean that they have claimed to be that, but I mean that the leading off of leaders, other party leaders who have taken on that mantle, like Martin Luther King Jr., and these great people that have shaped our nation, it's just not in the vein of any of that. It just doesn't make sense to me. But I think, unfortunately, I think there's a certain margin of people that do believe in that, or just aren't tuned in enough to really delve into these policies, and maybe, are still entrapped in bipartisan politics or two-party politics, which really is just not, I think, how common people really think, or not common people, just common sense people, everyday people who are into everyday politics. People like us, progressives, are not, we're getting away from that type of thinking.
But it's also, it's also the money. The money is what talks, right? It's the NRA gun lobby. It's some of these politicians that are working with the people who, don't want these gun control measures established. So the money talks, right? And that's another huge factor with how the DNC, the DCCC actually work, right? And you see this battle of messaging also working in the background. Like Laura Moser, right? Her husband runs Revolution Messaging. Revolution Messaging is essentially the brand marketing arm of Our Revolution, and many other progressive organizations. They run digital marketing, email campaigns, etc. And So if they represent that progressive message and they're getting linked in with this corruption idea that the DNC is bringing up, well, first of all, how do you explain $50,000, $60,000 to Revolution Messaging as a corruption of, just because they don't agree with the messaging principle, whereas you're contributing $800,000, there's a $300,000 donation to Hillary's Onward Together PAC, right? 300,000 just recently. And then you're claiming there are certain things about the messaging that are wrong, where if you just agree. So the money is what's talking here, the money.
Right. Yeah, it's a very interesting duality that you just highlighted there. So we were about to highlight the DCCC paid Hillary's resistance PAC that she created to purchase these email lists, and then turning around and smearing a candidate for doing probably the same thing, if not even less harmless. Revolution Messaging is the, one of the top progressive digital marketing companies right now. So, hiring your husband's company to run that, I don't know if it's that unethical. So
it's like the DNC is married to Hillary Clinton, and they're paying as if,
It does highlight a good point, though. I think we do need to make it less about the money and be extremely transparent. We report, for example, we as a PAC, or our PAC arm, reports every single donation and every single thing that we spend on, and we run our own digital marketing. But there is a lot of progressive companies right now that are paying other digital marketing companies, other specifically progressive ones. There's a lot that are popping up right now to do their digital marketing. And that's I would say it's a fairly common thing. It's just when people don't have enough information, there's a feeling of like paranoia and like conspiracy around it a little bit. So we just have to get the facts. And I think that the DCCC and the Republican Party like feeding into those conspiracies a lot. And people there's just people that just hate the DNC at this point, honestly. Like they don't even think, even running, it's kind of the point where people think that running within the Democratic Party isn't progressive at all. I'd love to see a day where we don't have a two-party system. But anyways, they're perpetuating the same thing. That's all I'm saying.
And the key, the key is to keep all of these organizations accountable, right? We don't want to be a DNC in this race. We want to have our values stood up for in a genuine way by people's voices, not by money's voice. So these organizations are supposed to be held accountable through their transparency. You're right. That's a great point.
Well, the other thing we wanted to talk about was the high turnout in Texas. So that's another thing, actually, segueing off of, either whether are you Dem-enter or Dem-exit. But regardless of what you are, we have seen that, there is a very high increase of Democratic voter turnout in Texas. But the thing is that for the people who are kind of using the party as a vessel, why is there this energy? The Democratic Party likes to say, that it's because of the work that they are doing. And there's definitely a lot of people who work for the Democratic Party that are working for these candidates, but the majority of them are, self or post, progressive message, Bernie inspired people that are coming back around to say, like, okay, we have to do it this time. Derek Crow and Rick Trevino, they're candidates. But, just the key here being Justice Democrat. That's the other thing. We have, our organizations that are coming out for the progressive left wing are, saying, hey, we are going to be inclusive of this democratic ideal here, but, we are making it our own thing. So I don't give credit entirely to the Democratic Party for these high turnouts that we're seeing. I give it to the people who are finally fed up with Donald Trump's message. You know, we're seeing a higher Democratic turnout than we did in the general election. So whereas, you know, in the generals in 2016, we saw a very low Democratic turnout. So yeah, it's exciting. We'll be reporting on that this coming Tuesday, and you can tune in. We'll probably start around like 7 or 8 Eastern. You know, we want to wrap this up, and I don't know if the Oscars are playing now, but or after this, but Bernie is going to be in Texas. He's going to be on March 9th. He's going to be in Austin for a conversation with Jake Tapper. March 9th, he'll be in San Antonio for Our Revolution Texas fundraiser. He's doing a lot on March 9th, I guess. He's also in San Antonio for a rally at Trinity U. And then on March 10th, he's doing a rally in Lubbock. Yeah, that's all I have for this show. Thanks for tuning in. I really hope that you can be involved in the Get Out the Vote push. Again, just go ahead and go to 2 websites, either political-revolution.com/phone banking or grassrootspb.com, and go ahead and sign up to phone bank there and turn in your calls for prizes. I'm serious, guys. Like, I want to see these things gone. Just do it. I'm going to be doing it more, definitely. We get into the summer here. We've definitely, you know, got sunnier days over here in Colorado. So it is going to be the summer soon. Spring and then summer will come fast, and we'll have lots of good vibes leading up into the midterms. So have a great rest of your Sunday, and we will see you on Tuesday.